Hi, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Naylo's Thrift Talk. I'm Lola.
And I'm Nay.
And today we have a special guest.
Yes, we have Jess Stephan here. And Jess is one of our thrifting and reselling friends. And she's in the thrifting board and the Secret Beach. And she is a great reseller. And she sells on multiple platforms. And she reached out to us when we did our lot show. We were talking about selling magazines. And Jess had reached out saying, hey, I sell ads from the magazines. Would you be interested in talking about that? And we were like, yes, of course. So we invited her to come on as our guest this week. And Jess, did you want to add a little more? Is there anything that I missed? Or?
No, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really happy you're here too. Yeah. And so if you are new to the show, we are a weekly live YouTube show that talks about thrifting and reselling. And we love to talk about creative ways that we can reimagine the stuff we find. So this is like a perfect topic for us. So we're super excited. But before we dive in, we have our usual segments. And our first one is
what
we're wearing that's thrifted.
Yes.
So, Jess, you want to go first because you are our honored guest today?
Sure.
I'm on the big screen.
I'm wearing a dress that is thrifted, but this is a necklace that I got in a thread-up box recently.
Oh, I love it.
And normally I'm like to sell those things, but no, this one, I'm like, that's mine.
Does it have any markings on it, or
it's J. Crew?
Oh, okay, very nice.
I was going to say it looks like those J. Crew statement necklaces. So it is
a necklace.
Very cute
style. I've actually sold a couple of these, but not this like rainbow color. So
super cute. You look adorable.
What episode were we doing, Nay? Where those came up a lot and like they were very solid sellers. Like I bet that you could get a chunk for that if you wanted to sell it, but obviously you're keeping it.
They do seem to
probably,
but I'm not parting with this one. I actually got an identical one in a box a couple weeks ago, so I don't have to worry about it now. I can keep it free of guilt.
And, yeah, and it goes perfectly with your hair. Oh, thank you, Angelique. That is so
sweet. Yeah.
And we really try to have like a new topic and new info every week. So I love getting that feedback. It means we're doing exactly what we're hoping to do.
Exactly.
Okay, Nay, you want to go next?
Sure. So oddly enough, I am also wearing J. Crew today. Oh. So I have on this adorable giraffe blouse that is, you can see it's just a repeated pattern of giraffe. And I have not been thrifting in person much since the pandemic. In fact, only once. And I got this the one time that I did go. I found it for $4.99 and I grabbed it so quickly because I am a giraffe fanatic. So, and my bracelet is from the Thrift to You box jewelry that I had gotten, and headband is thrifted from somewhere, and these earrings are also from that Thrift to You box. So yeah, so that is my outfit for today. And I was very excited because when I got this shirt, it was a size too small and I could not fit into it. And I have lost, I believe I'm down 12 pounds as of today. So I'm working hard on I'm killing myself with, just really healthy diet, Whole Foods, Weight Watchers, and exercise. I've been walking miles a day. And so this morning I put this, I was like, oh, I hope it fits. And it fit perfectly. So it's the first time that I've actually said, wow, I'm noticing it, so it felt good to be able to wear it. Because when I did buy it, it was a size too small and it was too tight on me. So
that's awesome. What great incentive to keep working hard. Because I know you have you've been through the rough part that doesn't feel fun and feels like it's never going to pay off, right?
Yeah.
And Heather asks, why giraffes? I don't know if you've ever told us that before.
I don't know. Since I was a little girl, and I'm talking a little girl, like my parents would tell me that, they would take me to the zoo or whatever. I was obsessed with giraffes when I was like 2 years old. Don't know why, but I've collected them since I was a little girl. I've always been drawn to them, and my whole life I've just been like, maybe I was a giraffe in a previous life. I don't know. But it's something about, they're such graceful creatures. They're vegetarian like I am, and they're so big and they're so strong and they're so, yet they eat all plant-based diet. I love their elongated necks, and they're just beautiful. So I have always had this odd obsession with giraffes. Yeah, the wiggly tongue is cute.
They're very cute.
I would probably have a pet giraffe if it would fit in my house and I was allowed, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It's probably not the best idea.
So I just collect them instead.
Let's see. I am wearing, oh no. I froze for a second. Was that on my end?
No, I think it was just on your end. You're good.
Okay. There we go. Okay. I am wearing one of my favorite thrifted shirts that is it's from Express, so I'm not wearing J. Crew, but I am wearing another similar-ish mall brand. And this one's definitely vintage. I think it's like 80s, maybe early 90s, probably 80s. It is 100% silk, so it's one of those things that, like, if you're buying new mall brand stuff, it's hard to find this same level of quality nowadays.
Yeah,
exactly. But it's just like it's a bright, cheery red. It's a nice basic. It's not a color I usually wear, but I felt like, just like last week, it's been gloomy and overcast, and I'm ready for some bright colors. And then, Nay, you inspired me to finally start wearing some of my jewelry.
Oh.
And I was going to try and put on, like, some gold necklaces, and I pulled them out of my jewelry box, and, like, they're all tangled up. So I got one out of the pile for this morning.
That's pretty.
Maybe next time I will have a few more. But this is a necklace I remember getting at an antique store in outside Boston when I think I was like in high school or right after high school. So I've had it for a long time. I'm not sure if it's plated or solid. I think it's probably just plated, but it is fairly nice. I remember looking it up, and it was a good find for what I paid. Thank you. It's a color that I always am hesitant to wear because I feel like it like doesn't do anything for my complexion.
Oh,
but
no, it really is great and vibrant and beautiful.
I'll have to try and thrift some more bright red stuff then. Your guys' stamp of approval. And our next segment is our thrifted home decor. So, Jess, do you want to be put on the spot again, or one of us can go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So, pretty much everything behind me is thrifted also, but this is the thing that I just found last weekend. It's an Italian tile and it's just going to go on the wall. I like that it sort of looks like a molecule, or I don't know.
Yeah, it does. It looks very atomic. Yes.
Yeah, very. We obviously have a little mid-century modern thing going on, and it was free.
Oh, that's even better. Decor behind you too.
Yeah, you have some great. And I know people in the chat were saying love the plant stand and the side table and the lamp. Do you want to talk about any of it, or?
The lamp is related to my getting started on eBay, where I signed up with eBay in 1999 because I wanted to buy panthers, and I have a whole ceramic panther planters and lamps, and there's two lamps, if you can see the other one on the other side, that's a different color, that I did buy off eBay probably 20 years ago. And the plant stand was something that we had sitting in the backyard, and we picked it up at a garage sale, and my husband refinished it and set me up so I had somewhere to put all the succulents that I collected through the
Lola also is a succulent collector.
Yeah. So gave me a lot of use for all the pottery that I had collected over the years, random things that didn't have plants in them. I'm like, oh, I need things to put plants in. So.
Love it. Love it.
Brian's planters. I thought you said panthers. No, you said both, right?
Did you say panthers?
Yeah. Well, actually, I collect panthers and I collect panther planters.
Okay.
Is that 3 times?
I do. Yeah. I just don't put plants in the panthers because they don't have a lot of room in there. I think they were made for fake plants instead of real plants. But
that makes sense.
And Rick needs to list their lampshades.
Yeah, you need to sell those. Those are they're hard to come by.
How much do just the lampshades go for? I'm guessing that those are probably in demand for replacements.
I would think so.
That seems like a cool find.
Yeah, I love it. That's good. I like that, Jason.
And Heather asks, "What is my animal?"
She. See, I messed up on seashore.
My favorite animal is the elephant, but unfortunately, the Republicans have stolen that, and I'm now afraid to use or like wear anything elephant related because I don't want anyone to misidentify me. So
that's unfortunate.
maybe in a couple years I'll feel bold enough to do it again. But I used to love that. Was the Vera Bradley elephant print?
Oh, and that's my favorite. That's the one, the pink elephants.
Mm-hmm.
Also loosely associated with breast cancer. So.
Oh right, because the pink, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually have the backpack and one of the bags, and that's one of the few Vera Bradley patterns that I actually love that I'll wear. But that's a good point. Now when I wear I think you just might have ruined my pink elephant Vera Bradley bag for me.
At least that print's like, it's very subtle. It's not like big in your face elephants. So yeah. Angelique says her mom collects elephants. I do also have an elephant collection. So that is nice to keep around my house. Although they're actually in my parents' house right now. I should bring them back and could show some of them because they were thrifted. Nay, what's your?
So mine is actually ad related. It's like, I guess it could be called an ad. It's a tin type ad. It's embossed, and it is a Guinness. I am Irish and I don't drink Guinness anymore, but I used to. It was like when I drank beer, it was the beer that I liked, but I still love the advertising of it. And this is one of the ones that I got, and as you can see, I did get it at Goodwill for $1.99. And
the sticker.
Yeah, so 12/05/2018. So I've had it for a while, but I'm not selling it. I think I want to get, I don't have a desk set up or anything yet, but I want to get like a little desk area, and I think I might hang it up because it's just, I'm half Irish. It's Ireland. And I love the Guinness toucan. I think he's cute. So, so this would be again ad adjacent, but not the type of ads that we're talking about today, but still super cute. And I haven't looked it up. I bet I could get at least $20 for it or so, but.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. It's a nice decor item. Plus it has the like cultural connection that, Irish people love to show off their heritage, and Guinness drinkers love their Guinness. So, I also have a ad related thing, sort of.
Switch. There you go.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
Sorry, I was trying to. I think we keep hitting it at the same time. I think. There you go.
Well, no, I didn't hit anything. That's so weird.
Oh, that's weird. I moved it and then it just like bounced back.
So this is a copy of Life magazine from 1969 that I pulled out of the bins. And I think I shared it before because the reason that caught my eye was that it has this beautiful photograph. It was on the back page. And I loved it. And it's of New York. It's a sculpture in New York, but it's like the overhead shot so you can see all the people. And I really wanted to take this and frame it. So I haven't done that yet. I still want to. But I started reading the magazine. And I can't hold it too long because, again, my allergies will probably start going off. But the issue that the letters to the editor in here were related to was all about Picasso. And the letters are so funny. So... this is the letters to the editor page. And a bunch of the responses go like this. Sirs, any 12-year-old scribbling at random could have done as well. Sirs, my 7-year-old grandson can draw better. my 6-year-old granddaughter, a 4-year-old, my 3-year-old niece, my year-old granddaughter.
Awesome.
So I love that because I feel like that's, as someone who studied art, it's, always something people say about modern art. And it just was hilarious to read that even back in the 60s, like nothing has changed. And I could tell that the editors enjoyed printing those as a way to kind of poke fun at themselves and at everyone who was reading their issue. And that was their takeaway. Oh, can't really see this way. We're talking about my purchase of a bunch of old magazines, and that's why I love picking them up, because there's always just like little gems once you start reading them that are amusing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we have our next
segment. Yes. So this is our newish segment, which is Holy Poop Emoji. This sold. And Jess actually found this one for us. So this is a surprising ad that sold, because it is, in Jess's words, a crappy ad. Yes, because so it fits our segment perfectly. Because it's a more recent one, right, Jess? And it's just a Mucinex ad.
Yeah, and why would anybody want that?
It's really funny. Like the only thing I could think of is if it was like someone who worked on the ad and wanted a copy for their portfolio, but then you'd have the digital copy, right?
Yeah, you have it already. I don't know. Somebody likes the little loogie guy.
That's funny. Yeah, but it did sell for $5.99 plus shipping, and that was an easy $5.99 for something.
Good for that person.
Exactly.
I would never have thought to list this. That is,
not in a million years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny what some people list and it actually sells. Yeah. So so very, very interesting one there.
Yeah, plus shipping. Yeah, this is definitely making me rethink a lot of things I overlook. Like I don't know if I would take the time to list something for $5.99, but it's a piece of paper. So you're thinking from that one magazine, the person probably pulled several, if not, like half a dozen or more ads, right?
You would think, yeah. And it's a recent, it was from 2011. So it's probably just a magazine they had laying around that they were going to put out for recycling, and said that, it's not like something that they picked up in like an antique store or something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like from one of the magazines that people will give away free at their garage sales.
Yeah. They're
not old enough to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And I noticed that the seller is retro advertising, so I'm curious to know what they sell.
But they also don't have like a ton of feedback, because I would imagine a sale like that would come from a seller who's just selling like massive number.
It looks like they sell ads, interestingly enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Yeah, it looks like all they sell is ads. How interesting is that? So I wonder how they knew to sell that Mucinex one. So crazy, because a lot of the ones that they are selling are like, older ones that I could see.
Yeah, those are the ones I would expect to be listed.
Yeah, they're like 1955, 1943. They're, but the Mucinex ad is an interesting one. Yeah, all these I could see. That's really crazy. Well, good for them. And this is a good example of a seller that sells. It looks like that's all they sell, which is crazy. Do you run into that a lot, Jess?
People that.
I mean, have you seen that like a lot where people? Because I didn't know that was a thing where that's all people sell. I didn't.
Yeah, there's a couple of sellers that I kind of stalked them for a little while. When I was doing research before I started selling, and I was watching these, the big ad sellers. There's some people that have thousands and thousands of ads in their store, and that's all they do.
That is so interesting.
I could never keep track of that much.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's not something that I would have thought of, like that there are people that this is all they sell.
Yeah.
That looks like this is all the seller sells. So
yeah, and this is a great point. So all of their prices are $5.99.
Looks that way, yeah.
Which means that they must be underselling some of these, but they're also saving time on researching each one individually.
But they're probably leaving some money on the table that way too, you know, and getting $5.99 for a Mucinex ad at the same time. So I don't know.
So does it come out in the wash, I guess? Like is it just it's a choice that you can make in terms of your strategy?
Yeah, I guess if that business model works for them. Interesting.
Quantity over
very interesting.
Quantity over quality. Is that right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Not that they're bad quality things, just.
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
I don't want to sell a bunch of cheap things. Like
exactly. Yeah. It's a different business model. It wouldn't work for me either, but I guess it works for some people. So our next week we're going to be doing another thrift haul and blue box unboxing. I have a 10 for 10 box, which just came yesterday, that I'm saving for next week. And I think Lola's going to have a few thrifted items to show. So, and I might have a couple other things. We'll see what we have, but kind of a blue box and a kind of mishmash of thrifted items to show next week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go do some in-person thrifting. So it's been a long time since I've done that. And I'm a little nervous. Like the post-pandemic anxiety is real, but I am fully vaccinated. So, yeah, we'll see what I find. I really did not do that much thrifting in my new locations since before the pandemic started, because we'd only been here for a few months. So I'm still getting used to the differences, and I haven't been to a lot of, like, there's a Savers near us, which I've been to once. There are really no Savers in the Philly area, so it's not a chain that I'm super familiar with. So it's still feels like
they tried it for a while. They had a couple Savers outside of Philly, and they didn't last. They closed.
Yeah, I remember that. I think we went once, maybe.
Yeah. It's just weird. So, but that'll be, so that's next week, the 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get into our main topic now. So, okay. So, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you sell, where you sell, and how you got started thrifting and reselling?
I apologize if you guys can hear my dogs barking in the.
No, we're a pet-friendly show.
Still has, completely been hogging the show at times. So yeah, it's barking.
I have been selling on eBay since '99. Like I said, I've been thrifting my whole life and wearing vintage clothes since I was 15, 14, something like that. And I sell, I've been selling on eBay for that long, and I've been selling the last 5 years or so on some of the other marketplaces. I've just been trying, like Depop and Poshmark and Mercari and Etsy, and it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm trying to put stuff on all of them, branch out so that I don't have all my eggs in one basket. And marketplace. That's been very good to sell stuff locally.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I haven't really tried doing yet. So I'm definitely always curious to hear people having success there. But I've looked a lot for like lots and stuff to pick up locally, and haven't had a lot of luck in this area.
There's nothing better than having somebody come and get something like 2 hours after you list it.
That is pretty nice. And then
and you get the
cash
or Venmo, so you're paid instantly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've sold bigger items on Marketplace since I've moved. I did a lot in Philly. Like when I was moving, I sold like the kids' bunk beds and some furniture and big items like that. I haven't sold a lot since I've moved, and it's mostly just bigger items, but I have sourced a little bit on it locally, and it can be pretty good. So it's interesting.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just another time suck though. If you start looking for stuff for sale on there, it's like going on Pinterest to look at something.
That's true.
I have experienced that recently.
Do you sell ads on? Have you sold ads on all of these? I know that's one of the next questions we're getting to, but have you sold it on Marketplace? And
I've only sold ads on eBay.
Okay.
Interesting.
I checked Etsy, but it didn't seem like people were getting as much money for them on Etsy, which I thought was kind of interesting because usually you could get more money for vintage things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that definitely seems like an exception, because I've noticed for every category I've checked Etsy for vintage stuff like clothing, sewing patterns, stuff like that.
And it seems like other ephemera sells really well there, but for whatever reason, I was seeing the same ads, for a little bit less money than I could get for them on eBay. So
That's good to know. So eBay definitely seems like the right platform for selling.
They are pulled to Bonanza and Truegather, but I haven't made any sales there.
Those are two platforms that I am not on. So interesting.
Same. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't sell a whole lot on there, but it's kind of nice. Every once in a while you get a surprise.
Yeah, it's kind of like a supplemental thing, kind of like Pop or Mercari are, yeah.
And you just have to set it up, and then you don't have to do anything. They take care of everything for you. And if they sell something, it pulls it from eBay automatically. So it's very little work.
Yeah, that is nice. I mean, definitely the downside to cross listing is that you have to remember where everything is, and like if you take it or pay for a service. Like I know Nay and I were looking at a couple services.
I had the unfortunate that happened just a couple weeks ago. I sold a shirt that was it was a plus size top that was new with tags, and I sold it to somebody on Poshmark. Forgot that I totally forgot, shipped it out, totally forgot that I had it listed on eBay. And then I got it to Ching on eBay like a couple days later, and it was the same shirt. And I was like, oh no.
And you sold it for more too, right?
I sold it for like twice the price on eBay too. And there was nothing I could do. So I had to just suck it up, take the defect, apologize profusely, and, just move on, cancel the sale. And, luckily I didn't get a negative out of it, but, I felt bad, but so you do have to be really careful.
Well, it's so rare. It definitely seems like it's so
the first time it's ever happened to me. And I was just, I didn't even realize that I even listed it there. I was like, oh, but it happens. So Jess, how long have you been selling ads, and how many have you sold, and why do you like to sell them?
I wrote this down. I started in 2017.
Oh,
selling ads. I'm not really sure. Well, I am sure why. Somebody gave me a bunch of Playboy magazines to sell.
Oh.
And if you've ever tried to sell Playboy magazines, they just don't sell. Like
really?
there's special issues that are worth money, and the rest of them, it's just a waste of time. Sorry. Because you can't ship them. You can't ship a media mail, so they have to go priority because they're like 2 pounds because they're such big magazines.
Yeah.
And, nobody wants to pay $8 or $9 for shipping.
Mm-hmm. Is it also something that's just common? Like I could see that being a magazine people hold on to, like
in their basement. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. It's just, and everybody thinks, oh, my dad kept these, or my uncle had these, and they're his prized possession. I'm like, everybody's got a box of those.
Yeah,
that's true. I guess they are something that people keep. Yeah. They don't. Right. Yeah, they stash them in their bed, and then when they pass away or whatever, there's their collection. Yeah.
So I saw the ads in there, and I thought, well, I knew some people were selling them, and I just started cutting them up, and it seemed to work out. So
yeah. So you probably sold the ads for more than you would have for yeah.
A lot more. Yeah.
So that's
even if you get $50 out of it, you'd never get $50 for the magazine.
$50 for one magazine sounds pretty decent to me. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You obviously mentioned Playboy as one magazine source. Are there other specific magazines that you tend to pick up to look for the ads specifically, or do all magazines tend to have something worth picking up?
Not everything. Mm-hmm. I sort of gravitate toward like Good Housekeeping, and there's like vintage, like women's magazines.
My mom has a ton of them, and she wants, since my dad passed away, she's been like gung-ho about cleaning the house out. She wants me to come help her with, and so I was looking on her shelves, and she's like, I think I'm just going to put them all in recycling. And I'm like, wait. So I wasn't thinking about like I have like the People magazines and stuff like that I was going to sell. Like this one I had mentioned like on one of, I think, last week's show. But she has a ton of those, like Women's Day and Family Circle and all. So I guess I should look at those for the ad then.
The other one, obviously, I pick up fashion magazines if I can find Vogue or Bazaar.
Like the really high-end glossy.
Yeah, and some of those might be valuable on their own, but typically what I'm finding at garage sales is in sort of rough shape anyway. The covers are all messed up or something. Okay. And even Sunset magazine, I inherited a whole mess of those, and they don't have as many ads as other magazines, but they do have.
Do you usually research the magazine, or like what would prompt you to research it? Like for this one, obviously it's a Kurt Cobain, it's when he died. And so that would like, set a red flag in my head that maybe I should look up the magazine as a whole, because it's like something, his point in history but is there anything that makes you like, think, oh, this magazine's going to sell better as a whole versus the ad, or
if obviously something like that, pop culture reference, I don't know. I know a lot of people sell Life magazines, and I'm not very familiar with those, but I know some of those can be valuable depending on the subject. I sold a collection of really old magazines as part of there was an actress named Anna Mae Wong that was in the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of like movie magazines from that time in the collection, and some of those sold for over $100 a piece. So those I would never cut up.
But those are older, so that's a good point.
Yeah, you see it and you go, oh, okay, well, this magazine's 100 years old. Maybe I'll check first.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just attack it and pull it apart.
Right.
But otherwise, I just kind of, some things like I've never checked a Sunset to see, because they're not really.
Exactly. So you kind of just know after,
Yeah. And usually it's something like that, like Women's Day or Family Circle or Ladies Home Journal or some sort of common magazine that.
I would think like the Time magazines that have certain commemorative events that people would want the whole magazines because it's like People and all, but those other types, I guess, I could Pyrex ads.
I could see that going both ways though, because those are also the issues that people tended to hold on to. Like I know a lot of times I see on Shop Goodwill that have a lot of like newspapers from 9/11 or when Princess Diana died, stuff like that. That it makes sense. I think I hold on to some of those newspapers too. So
I would think a lot of the content is inappropriate or sexist or
I could see, but it's also like people are weirdly nostalgic for stuff like that doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah.
So Lisa says that she does really well with Life, Look, and Post from the 50s to 70s. Do you have a time period that you tend to look for also, or like a cutoff where you think, okay, this is too modern, it's probably not worth picking up, or is it again still worth a shot to?
A lot of times it's worth a try. I was only looking for, say, 50s to 70s for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And then I started seeing some things from the 80s that were selling for a lot, or, sometimes I'll just try a couple. Like the Mucinex guy, he probably just tried it.
Yeah.
You just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. You never know. Maybe you have a niche that you didn't know that everybody wants.
Yeah, it could be. As a graphic designer, I used to do ads. I did a couple magazine ads for Church and Dwight and Johnson & Johnson when they were doing like this, when they were developing, McNeil, when they were doing the Splenda. I don't know if you know Splenda, the sweetener. Well, I did some of those ads and I got copies of the magazines for my portfolio, but that's something like as a graphic designer, I could see somebody, if I designed that Mucinex ad, I would want it, so that Lola brought up that point. So that's a good point too. So how do you usually, we talked about this a little bit, but how do you usually determine price? Do you ever auction them, or what? And then we talked a little bit about the platforms. Are there also any niche Facebook groups just for ads, like buying and selling ads?
I did poke around on Facebook to try to find groups, but it doesn't seem like they're selling groups. They're just fans of vintage ads, and they post a lot of pictures. And I know in some other groups, I'm in a mid-century furniture group and in a couple jewelry groups where people will post ads just to show everyone, look at this neat thing we have. And
I was sorry, Lola, I was trying to get back to I think this one.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I did pull this up from Etsy. Just all I did was search vintage ads in Etsy, but you can see that it looks, and these are not sold because it's harder to find the solds in Etsy, but it does look like a lot of these would do better. Or, the prices were going for more on eBay, like they were priced higher. But they do have so many really cool vintage ads on Etsy, even like older ones, like from what look like, the 20s and 1940s, 48 Clark's chewing gum there. So I would think that these would go for more. So it looks like from what you're saying, they would go for more on eBay, probably, correct?
That's just been my impression.
Yeah.
Plus, with a store on eBay, it's essentially free to list them. And on Etsy, it's 40 cents for each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which definitely cuts down $10. That's really cutting into your profits. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely seems like a lot of these ads, you can see how there's like a dual interest or two audiences where you have people who are interested in advertising or collecting ads, and then also maybe they're car enthusiasts and it's like a car ad, or you're talking about like mid-century furniture and it's a furniture ad. Or Nellie in the chat was talking about hanging Pyrex ads in her kitchen.
Yep, there was a Pyrex ad in there. Yeah. I did notice the Pyrex ad was priced at like $22, I think. But still, I'm wondering if, you could do even better with that.
And I haven't done auctions. I think I did at the very beginning when I started selling ads, but they don't sell that fast. So it seemed like maybe on a fluke, you could get a lot more money if you did an auction, but a fixed price listing just seemed better because they tend to have to simmer for a little while before they find their audience.
Well, it seems like they're also so easy to store. So you have no reason not to just let it sit for even a couple of years if it takes that time.
It's interesting because this is actually, framed too. And so that's even, they're selling it for $25.20, but it's framed. So I would think that,
the frame is worth that much. That seems like
it does. It seems like it would be underpriced for sure. So that's interesting. Lola, you had some questions under that.
Oh yeah, so I was curious about how you normally source for your ads. So is this like garage sales and estate sales, or do you buy lots off eBay of magazines and then part them out, or?
So far, it's been garage sales and estate sales. I'm always the one down in the creepy basement looking for the box of magazines that's going to make me sneeze. With my husband standing at the doorway, just shaking his head, But, I will go places I would never go normally. If I think there's something I can buy. I don't usually buy them on. I did look on Mercari when we had that coupon, when there was a thing last year where if you listed a certain number of items, they gave you a discount off a purchase, and I couldn't find one. Like, other people must have had the same idea because all the magazine lots were sold. It's like totally.
That's what I would look for, the lot I could part out and resell as well.
Yeah. So. That was exactly what I was doing.
I see some in the bins too. And a lot of times those magazines too get, ripped and the covers are all missing, or the pages. And I haven't thought about picking them up, but they're like next to nothing when you're in the bins. So that's next time I'm there, I'm going to be looking for them.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great example. So it's from the bins. It doesn't have the cover. So I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, there's no way I can resell this.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have noticed the photo on the back otherwise. And now, I mean, it's in horrible shape. So probably, I don't know if there's any ads in here that I could, I mean, actually, no, this page looks fine. Like, I could sell this ad, maybe. And I paid what for this? Nothing by weight at the bins.
Yeah.
And you're making me think back too that, like, there's a bunch of times I've gotten lots of like old crafting books that I just buy for myself because that's what I do. And like I'll get them on a couple times actually on Facebook Marketplace, and in them there'll always be a couple old like Good Housekeeping magazines that had like one knitting pattern, so they got stored with all the knitting books. And I usually don't keep them, or I rip out the knitting pages and then recycle the rest. And I'm kicking myself because that was I probably recycled like $30. And definitely won't make that mistake again.
Yeah, that's yeah, I'm going to be looking at magazines differently. And like I said, I don't even need to go sourcing because my mom has a ton in this house that she is looking to downsize and get rid of things. You know, she wants to start donating, you know, some stuff that was my dad's and all. So I need to help her go through stuff. So I might be, you know, and I'll help her, you know, she can she can use the money too. So I'll help her make some money, you know, off of her old magazines. So that's a good,
a lot more than you'd get just donating everything or recycling.
Exactly. Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to move on to our next question. So we were looking at some of the examples that are listed on Etsy, and I was noticing a lot of like kind of collectible or like hobby related items. But I was wondering if you had any favorite topics like cars or food or Pyrex or what seems to sell best for you?
Yeah. I saw a lot of toy ads.
Oh,
would not have thought of that.
Playmobil, school, all kinds of Fisher Price and doll ads. And I think that hits the people that are like nostalgic for what they had when they were a kid. So you can have a magazine maybe from the 70s or 80s with the ads for those toys. And somebody will always want that. I really like the old cosmetics ads, especially.
Oh yeah,
vintage ones, and I mean all of them really. They're kind of all. I appreciate them as art.
I do too, as a graphic designer and an artist. Yeah. I do as well. Yeah. In fact, I'm feeling inspired to start, you know, collecting some and framing them now. What about tobacco ads? Like I know that you don't open up a magazine now and see
the one I just pulled out too.
Ad for, you know, in this 1994 Kurt Cobain People magazine, you know, but that's not something. Are things like that more in demand now because they're not published anymore?
I don't know that I've sold, but maybe one tobacco ad.
Okay. So maybe I won't list the one I found.
They might be desirable, maybe specific ones. But, and what's funny is I put up a bunch of liquor ads when I first started. I thought, oh, you know, people are going to want these for their man cave or whatever. And Mad Men was still in the air, I think. And there was all these like great like whiskey ads and nobody wanted them.
One thing, and I'm gonna talk about this. I have some examples to show a little bit down the road. But I used to collect the Absolute ads because of the art. I just love, you know, Keith Haring and you know, there's some great artists, you know, Warhol, and did some of these ads. And I didn't drink Absolute vodka; it would knock me on my butt. And when I started collecting them, I was actually a teenager, so I wasn't. But I just love the art. So I had them plastered all over, and I got rid of all of them. I could kick myself now, but I had just about every single Absolute ad, and I was looking, and they do sell, and I'll bring those up in a couple of minutes. But yeah, so it's interesting. I guess maybe certain niches or certain brands of yeah.
So I just thought of a question that as I was flipping through this magazine. So there's this awesome color TV ad, which, I mean, think about how far we've come.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Right? But there's also an ad on the other side, which is for a Dodge car.
So which one do you pick?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know you can probably list them that, oh, it has this on the backside. Maybe it would be something that would be worth putting, you know, choose the one that you think is going to be more desirable and then put the other one in the item specifics. But you'll have to put a picture of the other side too.
Do you usually show what's on the other side, even if it's not an ad?
I don't. because I was selling a lot of those ads from Playboy.
Oh.
Sometimes you can't show the others.
Okay.
Did you mention that they were from? Did you mention they were from Playboy? Like,
no, because
did anyone get upset when they ordered the ad and then they were like, "Wait, there's a naked woman on the other side"?
I can see like some conservative person, that.
I was always a little concerned that might happen. Typically, most of the ads, especially in Playboy, are in the article section. But I have had a couple where I'm like, oh, that's okay. So I don't know. Nobody's complained yet. Knock on wood.
No.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So we didn't also touch on how to, this is kind of part of this question, on how to safely remove them. Somebody asked in the chat from the magazine. And also, as far as condition, like what are deal breakers regarding the condition? Are there cases where some of the damage is forgiving? Like if you have a small rip or wrinkle, and then I know like a lot of them are stored in basements and places over the years, so they smell musty. Is that, I did notice that when I looked at some of your listings that you do use the condition box to describe like the flaws or the possible flaws. And then also like, is there a way to grade the condition? Like with comic books and records, do you grade them? Or a lot of questions there, but sorry.
Okay. You have to remind me if I forget any of these.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with the last one. I don't grade them. I don't really feel qualified grading them. Personally, I know some people do. I just try, like I do with my other listings, where I describe it to the best of my ability. They used to say, describe it like there's no picture. Yeah. I don't go to that length anymore, but I do try to be upfront about it, especially if the page is yellow, or sometimes my camera has trouble capturing the color depending on the background that I take the picture on. Right. I stopped doing scans of them and started taking pictures of them, because with the picture you can actually see little bends and damage better. Plus my scanner wasn't big enough to do like the large size magazines. I don't know what kind of scanner you would have to have for that. So it seemed like it was more honest to just take a photo of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully there will be less problems. For removing them, some, you kind of just have to play around. If you pick up different magazines, you'll see like Playboy's easy because it just has staples. Mm. So you can just pop it open and pry those staples out and pull them out with a pair of pliers or whatever you have. And then you're good to go. And you can
leave holes in it. I guess there would be staple holes then.
There's little staple holes, but it's just right at the.
And you'd be cutting down the center anyway, right? To like remove that one page.
So those don't really. Those come out the cleanest. Then there's some other older magazines that have like a glue binding, and depending on the age of the magazine, you will get all this little gunk along the side, little, hard bits along the side of the ad. And I've actually, sometimes it'll come off nice in one piece. And sometimes it's like every single page, you'd have to sit there and pick at it for 5 minutes. So those I will take a paper cutter and just take off the tiniest little bit of the edge, just enough to get that glue off. Okay. And some old ones have both staples and glue.
Yeah.
And so then even when you get them cut out, they still have often rusty staple holes on one side. So I just disclose it. I figure most people are framing these. So a little bit more flaw around the edge.
You're not going to really notice that. Yeah. Especially if you're matting it or
And people know these are coming from vintage magazines. So
exactly.
It seems like people are going to be kind of pretty forgiving of small flaws at the edge like that in general.
I think they expect it because it's an original piece of paper that's 60, 70, 80 years old. They're going to expect there's going to be some wear and tear on it. I don't buy things with water damage. If it's, the magazine's all lumpy or something, or a lot of mold, because nobody needs that in their life.
Yeah, there's people like Lola who are highly allergic.
It's not fun. Oh my God. The day that my doctor told me I was allergic to old paper, like she was just like, oh, you just have to get rid of all your old books. And I was like, you don't know me, clearly. But that's super helpful. And so once you've removed the ads, do you have a specific way you store them so that they don't get wrinkled or damaged when they're in storage?
Yeah, I usually keep them in file folders, the smaller ones, until I get them listed. And then they go into those the sleeves and backing boards like you would use for comic books. You can get the magazine size ones. Yeah, like that.
So I have some here that I have some ads that I'm going to talk about. These are old. I mean, these are like the plastics all like I would have to replace these sleeves, but this is kind of what you're talking about, right? Cool. It's just like a piece of cardboard, and that's how the ad came to me.
So you can just buy those in bulk, both the plastic and the. Do they come together, or do you buy them separately?
Sometimes you can get them together. I have a friend that owns a comic book shop, so a lot of times I get them from her, but I've also bought them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's convenient. So is that something that if we're going to start selling ads, I guess we should go ahead and buy them before we start selling? And
that's what I did. It depends how you're going to ship them a little bit.
Do you ship in a poly? Do you ship with that and then in a poly, or?
I do. When I started, I shipped in those stiff cardboard mailers. But they're really expensive. That goes up really fast. And I realized that I could so it goes in the backing board with the sleeve, and then I cut cardboard just a little bit bigger than that. Since it's so expensive now to ship oversized things, anything over a cubic foot, all the big boxes just go in our recycling bin.
Yeah.
So anytime I get a big box that's got like big panels, parts, whatever, flaps, I'll cut it down, and you can do the thing where you do the cardboard, the corrugated part one way, and then the other way makes it really strong. If you turn it.
Okay.
I don't always, but and then I just slip it into a poly mailer, and if it's for some reason still loose or something, I'll tape it all down so that it won't get stuck in the equipment.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of international ones. I've never had anybody say that one was damaged. One person said the poly mailer was destroyed, but that I had packed it so well, the ad was fine. So
that's awesome.
And that was a US person, but still, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You've got some celebrity lookalikes in the chat. So Nick says that you remind her of Drew Barrymore. Which I totally can see that.
I can see that.
Midler. Do you ever get this? I feel like your hair is so glam that it's
you are very
natural to think of your celebrity lookalikes.
Oh,
that is adorable, I have to say. So can you ship the media mail, Jess?
No. I know you know the answer to this.
And I do want to say we did get called out in our comments, rightfully so. And I mentioned that the magazines I recently bought were shipped media mail and did not mention that the seller should not have done that. And I probably should have caught that and asked the seller to do the right thing and not ship it media mail.
Yeah.
So good opportunity to put that on the record.
Anything with advertisements in it cannot be shipped media mail. Like a book.
The offending item out of the publication. And
you're specifically shipping that.
Yeah, you're specifically, but magazines can't either because they have ads in them. So that does make the shipping a little more expensive if you're selling a whole magazine. I could see that. Yeah.
But if you do the way I do it, even when I'm doing an oversized one, it's still under 8 ounces, even with the cardboard. So they all go first class. Yeah. And the other option is to buy tubes, which would be, you wouldn't maybe want to get the backing boards because you would just want to put them in the plastic and roll them up and ship them.
Think of that, but yeah, I guess.
I just didn't want to deal with it. I had all the materials and I have, as I said, a surplus.
I probably wouldn't want to roll it either. I probably should shift them flat. But I am going to start selling some, so I'll have to report back because I'm interested now. Okay, so we kind of skipped around a little bit, but Jess, I have some examples of ads that you've sold, and you have some interesting stories related to selling some of these ads. So I just wanted to bring some of these up, and if you could just tell us a little bit about it. Oh, no, that's it. Okay. Sorry, let me zoom back down on this. I zoomed up too much. Okay. So this one it's a Howard Parlor furniture ad.
Yeah, and I'm in love with this. I would have that couch.
That is,
I would want any of that furniture in my house.
Yeah.
Really. I put that up just because I thought it was fantastic. I mean, and someone bought it from me, and he sent me a little message and said, "This was my grandfather's company, and I'm buying this as a gift. I'm going to frame it and give it to my father as a gift."
That is so
awesome. That was adorable. And it's not a big, you know, they're not big sales, but these are ones I probably had this ad in my store for 2 years.
Wow.
Just kind of, you know, just kind of sitting there and
waiting for the right person, and then the right person found it.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then you sold a version of this ad. I know this is not yours, but
no, that's mine.
That is your listing on Worth.
Okay. I found my own on WorthPoint. I was actually
but it was, I guess it was an older one, so it got archived. Very cool. So this was a Variety 2-pack page of photo print magazine ad. So this is a 2-pager, which is interesting. What did you sell this for?
I sold that for, I think it was $16.99. And looking back, this was a couple of years ago. I probably should have priced it a little bit higher, just because I really kind of liked it. I was fighting with I should keep this, but who wants to look at all the weird pimento loaf?
Yeah, it's funny. And I'm like, well, this probably wouldn't be something that I would frame, but I could see it framed, you know, from somebody that worked there or something. So it is kind of cool.
Someone from Heinz bought that.
Ah,
really? Oh, that's so cool.
And you know, I don't know if you've experienced this too. Sometimes people will buy something, and if they don't tell you the story, I'm not going to bother them and say, "Oh, do you work there?" You know, I don't want to. I just kind of.
Could you tell from the address, or did they just tell you?
Yeah, it was actually a
company.
Wow.
Addressed at the company. So
yeah, see, Jenny brings up a good point. Great picture for a deli. Yeah, I could see that too. Like, you know, when you think about this, there are so many target audiences that could be interested in some of these. So yeah. And then this one is one that you said that you sold to some. I think they had something to do with the last name, right?
Yeah, the person who I sold it to had their last name was Lesueur.
So
which doesn't have anything to do with the company. I actually looked up the history of these peas, and the name it's not named for someone.
Okay.
And I listed them because I can't see that and not think of the Sex and the City bit.
That's what I thought too.
Oh, I don't know about that. So
Samantha, one of the characters, gets obsessed with a priest.
Yeah, a Catholic priest. So he can't get married. And then he's like running a soup kitchen. So she goes out and buys these because they're like the best, most expensive canned food. Like, because she couldn't just give him any canned food for the.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
They went to this ad went to the Jersey Channel Islands.
Interesting.
Which I didn't even know existed. In my little sheltered brain, I was like, I don't even know where this is.
I know someone who was in one of my knitting groups who lives there, and she was telling really interesting stories about what it was like during COVID, when like everything like they like really didn't have anyone coming in off the mainland because that way they could, you know, help people stay healthy because they don't have easy access to like urgent healthcare, and it sounded like quite the experience.
Oof.
But yeah, I don't think it's very populated. So to sell something to someone there is like,
yeah.
It looks beautiful. I looked at pictures online because I was so curious about it, and it looks like an amazing place. But I have to assume this was a similar thing. Like they they said, oh, it's, you know, it's our name. Let's get it and frame it and give it to dad or something.
Yeah, great gift, especially for someone who's hard to get gifts for. Like,
yeah. That is funny. Yeah, my dad. So my maiden name is Rink, Renk, and my dad would. I used to get him gifts. There's a Rink seed company, which is not related to our, our last name. It's not, at least as far as I know. But I would like get him like hats and stuff, and he used to, because it's our last name, and so yeah.
It's similar to something I've gotten from my dad off eBay, because he is impossible to shop for. But he was in the Navy, so I found him stuff related to his submarine, and it would be like that, like a newspaper article, or there was like a stamp. So there was a first day cover with the stamp, stuff like that. So again, like not huge sales, but for that seller, waiting for the right person to come by, and it's the person who has a personal connection to that item.
Yeah, and Jenny makes a good point too. Somebody could, I know they bought this for the name, but somebody could be buying it for the coupon too. So
wouldn't it be hilarious to try and use it? I mean,
that would be funny. Yeah.
10 cents is not what this sold for, but
yeah, it's really funny. So we had a couple questions I had posted in the thrifting board, and Chris Coleman said he had a bunch of old magazines and he's wondering if the ads will be worth more than the magazines to themselves. How do you determine when it's better to sell the whole magazine or part it out for ads? We did talk about that a little bit. But I can bring up, these are the ads that from the magazines that he has. It looks like they're pretty old. So.
And these were, I think they were National Geographics.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. National Geographic is what, yeah.
Which honestly, I don't know. I have better luck selling color ads, and I think these are the old National Geographics when we were black and white.
Yeah.
And it seems like for whatever reason, National Geographic, like Playboy, is hard to sell.
Interesting.
Because everybody kept them.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I think I did put that in there somewhere. He said that it was, so a few ads from one of my 1925 National Geographic magazines. He said he has a couple dozen 20s and 30s National Geographics. They aren't selling individually, so he's thinking of lotting them by year or maybe selling the ads. Oh, 1925.
1925. Okay. So those are old. I mean, I feel like that's old enough that the magazines
would want them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think he should try selling the ads or the magazines? It's a tough one.
I don't know. That's what my method was. If the magazines didn't sell, to try setting them up. So try it with one. If there's a couple of
good point
of interesting ads, I think for something that old, I would say look for the most bang for your buck. Like if there's full page, probably full page ads, because some of them have just a partial page.
Yeah.
And maybe the subject matter, or if there's anything really striking. That's usually my how I determine what I'm gonna try.
Yeah. So Lisa has a great idea of selling the small ads for junk journal lots, like for people who collage and things like that. One thing I actually, I do with magazines, which I never thought to actually make lots for other people who do that stuff. So that's a great idea. But on their own, do you tend to list these smaller, less than full page ads? I'm guessing they go for less, or what do you find?
It depends on the subject. I've sold perfume ads that are just like a third, maybe a strip down the third of a page.
Okay.
Or sometimes it's a quarter page ad. If if it's the right thing, a lot of times people will go for it. So
it's still worth, because when I was looking through this magazine I was kind of ignoring the less than full page ads. So I shouldn't do that, is what you're saying. Definitely give them a shot.
You could, just at least skim them and see if there's anything that stands out. Because if you look at solds, especially like I was saying, the perfume ads, I'll sell ads for not Chanel. There was another vintage perfume that I think it was called My Sin, and it had a cat. And even the little black and white partial page ads will sell. because people will frame those. So
it's good to know. Oh yeah, Ginny has an example. She said the Pyrex ad was a quarter page. Okay.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Craig and Rick said that they just bought 500 car magazines.
Ooh.
So they're thinking maybe that, maybe the ads would be good for those too.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like auto is one of the ones that you had mentioned that sells.
Yeah, I think people want to buy, I don't know if it's for their garage or they just like to collect things.
Yeah.
I sell every Volkswagen ad that I come across will sell for like a Beetle or a bus or, older Volkswagens.
Do you try to figure out like the make of the car specifically and include that in your listing?
I try. It's just I'm not a car person, so sometimes it's a challenge.
That's exactly what I was. I don't drive. I know nothing about cars. I know car people care.
So these are some of your recent solds that I wanted to bring up. So
this one I'm sorry. This is a good example of one that is not from a time that I would have expected it to be very valuable. 1997, and I had this. I saved this, I guess, back then because I liked it. It was in a folder with some other papers, and I just came across it. I wish I had the whole magazine, but not a huge sale. I think this one went international too. The funny part about this, I had that bra.
No way.
That is funny.
I'm like, oh, Marilyn Monroe bra. I gotta buy that.
Leopard print is kind of always, one of those fashion state prints that's in, and so it's kind of timeless. That's cool. So that sold for $9.99 plus shipping. And then, oh gosh, that's lovely.
Oh, these gross food ads seem to sell pretty well. Like
wow,
the weird Jello salads. I think I have one in my store right now that is candles that you make with mayonnaise.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's so disgusting. But people like those.
I was mentioning those magazines I recycled. I definitely remember these ads in those magazines because they grossed me out. So I definitely recycled like $20 to $30 easy.
Oh my gosh.
Never again. I've learned my lesson.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. But I could see somebody like, in a kitschy kind of, way framing those in their
But there's a whole bunch of people that love, there's in the town that I grew up in that's close by, they have a mid-century potluck every Christmas, and people compete for the weirdest dish like this. And it's actually become a big deal. So I think a lot of people probably want to frame these things and put them in their kitchen.
Heather, that sounds like quite the story.
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Oh gosh. Okay, so that was for $10, that's like, and McDonald's, really? Okay.
Yeah, that one took a long time to sell, and I really thought that it would sell faster because it was so I don't know, I just like the big graphic, and it's just
it's the French fry image is just like so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Straight to the point. Although it makes me hungry when I look at it. That's the only thing
I could see like
that I miss.
That owns a McDonald's franchise or something,
Yeah.
So I do see in the condition that you have, you do have clearly state ads may have small flaws or yellowing due to age. Please see photos.
So is this this is just the standard phrase that you use in your condition on all of your listings?
I have done it that way because it was so time consuming.
Yeah, this one is a little different.
In the description, I will put if there is something specific wrong with it or it's really yellow or something, I will list it in the actual description. Maybe I should be putting it in both places, but for $10, I don't know how much time is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems like a hard balance to strike. But I guess in your experience, you haven't had anyone coming back and saying, "Oh, it wasn't in as good of condition as I thought," based on what you said. Nobody's
complained so far. I did have a sale last month where the person bought it, and I was excited because it was one I'd had for a while. You know, that cha-ching is always fun. And he emailed me within 3 minutes and said, "I'm so sorry. I thought this was the toy in the ad. Can you cancel it?"
Oh, that's a bummer.
I was bummed out, but I'm like, "Thank you so much for telling me before I shipped it."
And that seems like an isolated incident too. So this isn't something that happens a lot.
Yeah, and they were very nice, and I just said, "Absolutely, no problem." Canceled it, and they left me glowing feedback right away. So it was like a win-win. I'm not sad about it.
That's great.
I'm just so relieved it wasn't like he got it and opened it and said, "But I thought I was getting a toy."
Yeah. I have a couple questions for you for some in-hand ones that I have. So I have, and I have some, I did find some solds to bring up. So I have this one, which is, it's from the 50s. It's a Milky Way ad. And I had bought these, like these were ads that I had bought from like back in the 90s. And I had them like actually framed and hanging. So, and then this is one that's, I showed before. This is Orange Crush. And then I also have this, which was, bummer, a 2-page ad.
Oh, and you only have one.
So it's craft, and then, or Nabisco, I think. And then on the back of it, I don't want to take it out, but it does have a Marlboro ad on the back. So, but, so it's a kind of a bummer. I realized it was a 2-page ad, so I'm not sure if it would actually still sell, but I found some, sorry, I'm trying to,
window back up.
Yeah. So I found some solds on. So this one, it looks like it's selling for about $10, which isn't bad, I guess. So
you would think it would be more. It's really cool.
I felt like it should be going for a little more, but I guess if I was going to sell it, I guess I should. Maybe I could put it up for a little more, right? Or I guess I should. And then I found the Orange Crush one, which that was also going for about $10, but still not bad. I mean, I've just had these sitting around, so it's not like I've invested any money in them. So if I want to resell them, I can. And then this one I couldn't find a sold on, but this is how I found that it was actually a 2-pager, which is kind of a bummer. And it was a 1966 ad. So yeah.
That's cute. It's too bad you don't have the rest of it.
I know. So and then I found a few others, just bringing up, like, I was surprised Rolex was one. There were quite a few Rolex ads that were selling for, but this was like $54.99 for one ad. That is crazy.
Well, that's the time period that this magazine is from.
Wow. So yeah. So 1960. Wow. So I guess $49. So I guess baseball is Willie Mays was a popular player. And then this was one that was a Harley Davidson bicycle ad that went for $40.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was really
there's dedicated Harley fans. I could see that.
Exactly. So, and then this is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a 50s ad that went for $43.99. That was it was Raylight Electric Corporation.
Well, that's a great cross collectible one too.
And Brian would probably like this because he does sell video games. This was a Tomb Raider ad that from 1997 that sold for $18.06 in US dollars. So interesting. So I guess if you're in, like, if you have any of those gaming magazines or whatnot, Brian might have some of those to look around. And then I had mentioned I collected the Absolute ads. Some of them I could just kick myself because I had all of these ads. So yeah, that's $51. I don't know why the shipping on that was $23 from Washington. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. That's weird. That's even high for priority.
Yeah. I know. Oh, it's framed. That's why.
Okay. Well, that helps explain the price too.
Yeah. $20. I had this Rodrigue, the Blue Dog ad. I had that one. The Keith Haring ad goes for about $10. I had that. So those are something though that you should look for. You could still find them. If you're looking at from magazines at an estate or garage sale. Those do still sell pretty well. I guess that's it for, yeah. So we do have some breaking thrifting news today.
First, does anyone else
I'm sorry.
have any last questions for Jess? So we can circle back to it too.
Right,
But,
yeah, of course. Yeah, if
or
anybody.
anything last that you want to add, Jess, that we didn't talk about?
One of your pictures made me think of another bolo for the ads is transportation.
Okay.
Airplane ads.
Oh.
I found a lot of Boeing ads or for airlines or for cruise ships or.
Yeah, I could see like Pan Am or, you know, some of those defunct the airlines and whatnot that are not in business anymore.
Those seem to do better for me actually than most of the car ones.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was trying to find, because when I saw that, I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure I skimmed past an ad that was for an airplane or an airline in this issue, and I can't find it now, so I'll have to look for it later. But it was not the same Rolex ad, but it reminded me of it. So I should definitely check the comps on that one, because that seems like a good one to list. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, especially like the Concorde. So for that one, you had the Rolex, but then the Concorde doesn't exist anymore either. So,
yeah, so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if anybody has any more questions, though, you know, pop them in the chat and we can circle back to them for sure. So our first article, this is from Yahoo Finance, but so eBay is saying that warns that pandemic sales boost could soon fade. And they share a tumble, which was reflected in their stock. So,
yeah, this is a bummer, but I mean, I feel like sometimes what we feel as individual sellers doesn't really reflect what the company is saying about sales overall. You know, because it's so much on what we sell and.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's going to happen, you know, as people are starting to get moving again, they're vaccinated, they're going to start, you know, but, you know, people are buying things all the time. They were buying things pre-pandemic time, so they'll still buy things. It just might, you know, I mean, and that might be for the company as a whole more than, you know, individual sellers feel it. Yeah. So this is interesting. So Prabal Gurung is a fashion designer that I particularly, he's not just a fashion designer, but a designer that, that I particularly like. He does home goods and fashion. And so he is collaborating with artisans from around the world for a new Etsy collection. So that's really cool that that he's collabing with Etsy and doing some, so yeah, there's an example of, you know, dinnerware and face masks and a plant pot. So really cool that that he's doing a collab with artisans just for Etsy.
So is this like designs that then Etsy makers are like contracted to make the items, or do you know how that
works? So I was I had on the Etsy page, and then I don't know what I just did, but yeah, I believe so. It's actual artisans that sell on Etsy, I believe. So, but it's exclusive to Etsy itself. So, really cool. So
yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, collaborated with Etsy to create a collection of home decor items in conjunction with independent artisans from around the world. So, which was inspired by the idea of becoming a global nomad. So, very, very cool. Here we go. Okay. So here's the collab on Etsy itself. So you can see.
Oh yeah, so it's like different Etsy sellers, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really cool idea. And again, I love Prabal Gurung. He did a line for Target too, a collab with Target. And I do have a couple of those pieces that now that I'm losing weight, hopefully I haven't sold them. Like they've been in my listing pile and I keep putting them to the side. So I think like there's one top that I think I want, but it's still a little too small. So I guess this would be a good time to just save it for. But, and then also I noticed this past week that on Poshmark, they have a new feature that they are notifying buyers when an offer was made on something that you liked or you showed interest in. So somebody else made an offer. I guess at some point I had liked these Adidas sneakers and somebody made an offer, somebody else. And so it's like a race, you know, buy it now before it sells. So I'm and I know Lola, you said that you saw in one of the Poshmark groups that.
Yeah. So I was curious if this was like a brand new feature or just something that we had noticed before. Because I definitely don't buy on. I do buy on Poshmark, but I'm more active as a seller, so I don't like as many items as I could. And a bunch of people on like different Poshmark social media groups were saying that this is boosting their sales, that they're definitely getting higher offers or full price purchases when someone else has made an offer. So it seems like a really effective feature. And it also just makes sense that like, buyers often seem like they can offer what feels like a race to the bottom because they don't know who else, is offering. But so now that buyers are seeing, this activity, then it creates more of a competition both ways. So really smart. I hope that we start to see more features that, benefit sellers and our, sale price, not just buyers and their budget. So
yeah, but it's an interesting feature. So maybe that'll spur some sales. So, and then our market report. So I'm going to let Jess head this off with some of her recent sales. So she has,
oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it is. And we did a Kate Spade episode, which is, so you sold that for $24.99 plus shipping?
Yeah. And this was it had it was a little scuffed on one part because it was in the box, but it wasn't wrapped.
Mm.
And it came in one of my ThredUp fun boxes.
Wow, not a bad item for the fun, because those aren't expensive, right? So this was a good chunk of your.
Yeah, it was like, I think $30 for the box, maybe with the shipping, and there's like 15 things in there. And lately I've been getting these keychains. I had another Kate Spade keychain that I sold for about $40.
Wow.
Weeks ago.
Wow.
Okay, great. And this one was even unused.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So.
Yeah. Wow, that was a good thing there. And
sold
then,
right away too.
Oh, Jason he had a run, but he would have liked this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was taking his advice with the tiki mugs. And since the pandemic, I've ordered a couple of tiki mugs from my local bars when they've been available. And I think I paid about $125 for that. And I had it up for about a month and a half. And I was getting these really low offers the last couple of weeks. And I was getting really irritated because people were just coming back with, I just wasn't going for it. And then sure enough, somebody comes along and buys it for full price.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Angelique says to look at the purses that some of the fobs are.
Oh, yeah.
Both at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point. And we talked a little bit about those last week, too. And then, yeah, that was a great sale, Jess. That's amazing. And then, okay, Kendra Scott. Yeah, I know Kendra Scott tends to do well in Poshmark as well. You sold this on Mercari, I see.
Yeah, which was random, but someone sent me an offer. I think I had it priced at like $50 or something. I always price things a little high.
Yeah.
Just to see what'll happen. And that was another one from a ThredUp box.
Wow.
Right? From a jewelry box. So.
Very nice.
And I love Kendra Scott because there's enough pictures of it online. You can use Google Lens and take a picture of it and get the name of the necklace.
Like that's so smart.
So
really good tip there.
Comes in very handy because there's a big following. So even though I think this was a necklace that they don't make anymore, there'll be enough people that will have listed it.
Yeah.
It's really easy to figure out.
I need to remember Google Lens as a tool. Because do you have an Android? Is that?
No, I have an iPhone.
Okay. Because I know on Androids, I think it's sort of like more built in as a feature. And I don't think to go to it as much because I have an iPhone, but it's definitely a good tool to use.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh my gosh, $125. So this was new?
It's new. It's a retro cosmetics company that I buy from, and they make all these different they do all these different collaborations. They did an Agent Carter one when that show was on the air, and I was ordering something else from them at the time, and these were on clearance for like $10. So I picked one up, and it went in a box, and I never used it. I thought, oh, I'll use it. You know, it's $10. It's powder. I'll just use it. And then I saw them come up on Poshmark. Somebody was buying them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because they want to do cosplay.
Oh,
So they're using it for their Agent Carter cosplay, or they're collectors of the brand.
Yeah.
But that one, I finally found the box. I was looking for this thing forever.
Wow.
It was missing in my house for like a year.
Good thing you saved it.
Yeah. I'm really glad I didn't pop it open and use it.
I know. That is crazy. That's a great sale. And I like how you took the picture too. Great pictures there.
Mm-hmm.
Good background because it really pops. And I like how you showed the box, the open box with the item with the.
I was lucky that one wasn't shiny all over the surface, so I didn't have to worry about my reflection in it so much.
True.
No problem.
Great pictures though. And then Lola, you have this sale.
Oh yeah, so I've been listing a bunch of my sewing patterns, and so sure enough, they're selling. So I did take a best offer. Nay, I think you may have actually sent me this one.
I don't know. Yeah, because I know I did send you some. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of pajama patterns, which I made sure to list because people are still making like loungewear, work from home stuff, kind of like fancy pajamas. So I think I ended up just taking an offer of 5 for this one, which is, wasn't like a super rare pattern. So it was fine with that. But the next one was an even better sale. So, I was glad to take that offer because I think it helped me in the algorithm. And then this one, which had a bunch of watchers, but finally sold for full price. So not the highest, Vogue sale, but a decent one. I'm sure I paid 25 cents for this at the thrift store. So, good flip.
Yeah, that was a good sale still. Yeah. I love those.
That one actually went, I think, to England. So.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay. So nice.
Yeah, sorry. Just note on that. It is really hard to get the American like big 4 patterns, like the ones that really, really ubiquitous here are much more expensive abroad. So it is definitely good to do the global shipping or international shipping of some sort on those patterns.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. And then I was surprised that I sold this so I got this, I've had this book for a while. I think I paid like $2 or something at Goodwill a while back. And it had some major condition issues, which I disclosed. It did look like it had some water damage at some point. You can see it there on the page. You can see the rippling. It's clear, and I did mention that. Now I should use the condition box, but I list everything on mobile, and there is no condition box on mobile, which is really annoying because, but I did say, has wear to cover spine and evidence of some water damage, but still very much intact and readable, age discoloration, writing on inside front, which was interesting. It said Lily and Virginia Shannon for Christmas 1931 from Dorothy. Yeah. So,
and that's the kind of thing that isn't necessarily a negative.
Yeah.
Because it adds the character and the story of the item.
So, but even in this condition, it sold for $30 plus shipping. So I was happy with that.
Fun.
And I did carefully ship it in a padded flat rate. So I protected it with bubble and cardboard, and it fit nicely in there. So because it was going across the country. So, and I sold this. This is you'll be happy with this one, Lola.
Yeah, that's a nice sale price for a
flax. Because we haven't sold flax for a while. The sale it kind of like lost its momentum, and I sold this I actually took a best offer of $65 plus shipping. Yeah, so not bad. And then I did want to follow up on this. I had mentioned this last week, this Gucci bag that I sold, and how the buyer had opened a case saying that it wasn't, I clearly, mentioned there's quite a bit of wear to the leather and cracking, wear to the body, ink marks inside. And I did take a lower offer of $150, but for that, you're not going to get a Gucci bag that's in really good condition. You can see that's like what the cracking looked like. I don't know if she didn't look at all the pictures or what. She opened a case, and Poshmark did side with her, and I did have to take the return. So hopefully I'll sell it for more next time. But I just did want to follow up on that Poshmark did.
Yeah, it's so annoying that they sided with her, because she even said in your case,
I don't feel deceived. Yeah.
Yeah, like you were fine. Your listing photos were fine. I just wasn't happy with the condition. Like,
yeah.
Oh well.
But anyway, that's it's life. It's okay. Maybe I'll sell it for more next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have a question for you too. Do you have any ad selling or buying experience to share with us? So let us know.
Lots of great experiences, or people talking about how they use them to decorate, or different ads they've sold and how they ship and stuff in the chat. So if you have anything else to pipe up with in the comments on this video, we'd love to hear it. And I learned so much from you, Jess. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a great episode, and I'm still, like I said, kicking myself. I have let ads go off my radar for so long, but I won't do that.
Yeah, it's really gotten me to. I'm really excited to sell them, and I'll have to share with you when I do sell them. Sure. Yeah. So where can we find you, Jess? I know that you're all over, so.
That I'm Seven Crows Mercantile now. I just rebranded. So, and of course I rebranded and didn't realize that name was too long for Poshmark.
Oh no.
So
it's a clever name though. It definitely lets you kind of expand out in different areas.
And Depop doesn't like you to change your name. Yeah. So I just changed it was already Seven Crows Vintage, so I just changed Poshmark to that. So at least it's similar.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Not like May and I, who have a couple random.
Oh yeah, ours are like all over the place. So, yeah. So definitely check out Jess's stores and closet and her Instagram. I know you said that you don't have anything much on there yet, but
yeah, I haven't really set that up.
If you want to reach out to her, if you have any questions or whatever, you can
absolutely
reach out to her and shop with her too, because she has some great items. And we are everywhere.
Although not as everywhere as Jess, because we are not on Etsy. I am not really on. I actually did make a Mercari sale this morning, which is the first time that's happened in a long time. But Nay is Thrifty Nay, and I am Run Lola Run on Poshmark and Depop, and Lola Thrifts on Instagram. And we are also on eBay, Colbray * Dazzle, and Low-5. And you can email us at naylothrifts@gmail.com. Just like Jess did, if you have an area of expertise and you'd love to be a guest, we would love to have you on. If you have ideas, if you have requests for a topic, we love hearing all of that. So yeah, feel free to shoot us an email.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Jess. You were such an amazing guest, so much great information. And thanks so much for doing this with us.
Thank you both. This was really fun. And it's really interesting to be on the other side. I'm usually watching and in the chat. So
I love having you in the chat, but we loved having you behind the scenes today.
Yeah, that's great.
So next week we will have our unboxing / thrift haul, which should be super fun. And we will see you all then. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yes, have a great week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.